The most recent case I've purchased for my iPhone 12 Pro Max is the Dbrand Grip Case with the Teardown skin. So I figured I'd make two videos on it, the review, and then this video here, which is gonna show how I installed the skin on the case and the camera bump. Now, Dbrand has a really good how-to video on their website. I definitely recommend just watching that first. You probably only need to watch that really. I just wanted to show a real-world application of me putting that skin on so you guys can see how it actually looks and not in this perfect setting that Dbrand has where they make it look super easy, because it is pretty easy, but it's also not as easy as they make it look. So you'll see me unbox it, put it on, but no review on this one. That'll be my later video of the review of the entire case. So check it out. The packaging it ships in is really neat looking, has the Dbrand camo all over it. And then the actual box that the case comes in is even cooler, has their logo on it. And it comes with a microfiber cloth, which is really nice. Obviously, it's good for cleaning things. And then here is the case and the skin. So the box is fantastic. Love the packaging on that. The case has like microfiber inside with their logo on it. It's pretty sweet, keeps the phone from getting scratched. Feels pretty good in the hand. And then the part where the skin is kept is really neat, little window. And not a whole lot to it, just some 3M material that they use that is really durable and works really well. The installation video wants you to make sure the phone is clean before you stick it in the case. So I'm going to open the microfiber cloth, clean the phone up a bit before you stick it in. But also, I think it is easier to stick the skin around the camera bump on first before you put it into the case. So we're gonna start with that. I really wanna make sure the camera bump is clean. It usually gets lint stuck around there, so I took some compressed air, sprayed it off, made sure it was all clean before applying that skin on there. And when you peel the skin, it's kinda delicate, so you don't wanna go crazy and yank it off there. They tell you to go slow, and I can see why. I feel like since it's very thin, you could totally rip the edges of that. The normal skin doesn't do that just because there's so many small spots on this due to the camera cutouts. And then aligning this was not the easiest part. It's a little harder for me because I have to make sure my head doesn't get in front of the camera, so I can't lean over it fully like normal people do when you put it on. But I struggled a little bit making sure it was lined up around the lenses without being able to fully tell on a good perspective. So this is doing it kind of in hard mode since I can't lean over the phone, or my head will block the camera. And then this video wouldn't happen. So once it's aligned, you want to gently press it down and just smooth it out, make sure there's no bubbles. This part went on really easy. I think this one's hard to mess up because since there's so many cutouts, you can line it up pretty well. You want to get in between all of the lenses and the sensor and the flash and make sure that it's flush and laid flat. Just kind of smooth it out with your finger. I try not to use my fingernail because I feel it will scratch the skin on it or like leave a weird indent. So I avoided using my nail. It's just all fingertip. Just make sure it's stuck down well and won't come off. So made sure there was no lint or anything within the case. So just take the microfiber cloth and just rub it. They tell you to do all this stuff in the video. It's pretty straightforward. There's not a lot to this. And I air dust the case out, make sure that there's no other lint stuck around. I go a little over the top, make sure it's pretty clean. I made sure I got everything off of the phone as well. Applying the case is extremely easy, as you would imagine, and it actually goes on really well versus a lot of the other cases I've tried. It isn't a super thin case, so I think that kind of helps it be a little more stable when you're putting it on. But it goes on extremely easy, and it actually feels really good in the hand. In the how-to video on Dbrand's site, it wants you to peel the skin off the backing and then place it back on there with like some of it hanging off. So it's kind of weird, but it actually works really well. It keeps you from like accidentally screwing up putting the entire skin on all at once. This should have been easier than it was. Like I said, I can't fully hover over and block the camera with my head, but it got to the point where you can see my hair, obviously, because it was a little difficult and I had to get that done. So I leaned over a little bit or I couldn't really tell. Now I lined up the trim around the camera bump. I thought that would have been an easier place to start, and I still think that was the best way to do that. So once you lay that part on there that's exposed from the backing that the skin was attached to, smooth it out with your finger. So I use the top part of my knuckle because it's flat and you can apply equal pressure. So that's what I'm doing there. I'm just using flat side of my knuckle And then you gotta slide the paper out a little more, and then just rinse, repeat, and keep doing that over and over. It kind of is stuck, so you kind of have to yank it, so it feels a little weird. But mash it down a little more, and then more and more of it is getting applied to the case. So just keep doing this until you get the whole case applied, but make sure it's lined up before you get too deep, or you're gonna be in a little bit of trouble there. Once you have the whole thing on and the backing of the skin can fall off, make sure you smooth everything out. Now, I could not tell that there were bubbles on there until after I had placed the entire skin on the case and already had started smoothing it out. So it was gonna be really hard to peel it off and reapply. So I was a little bit stuck at that point, but there were a decent amount of bubbles that I was not prepared for. As you can kind of see when you shine it in the light, you can see there's one beneath the camera bump that's pretty huge. So that one took some effort to get pressed out of there with my finger. I think a squeegee would help. So if you ever have a squeegee, like a phone squeegee that has like the felt side so it's not gonna scratch anything, that would probably have helped quite a bit. They don't give you one. It might not actually work that well, but I think that would have helped me instead of using my finger possibly. There's a bunch of little bubbles and I'm really trying to force them out with, at this point I'm using my fingernail to press them out. And it's not really working. And I'm afraid of scratching the skin. Pressing it too hard with my nail, it'll leave like a mark on there, because you can do that with these. So I put the microfiber cloth in between, trying to press them out, but at the end of the day, some of this did not actually fully come out. That big one underneath the camera bump, I got out of there, but there's some other little ones, they're stuck. There's no way I'm gonna be able to get them out, but they're so small, you don't really notice hardly at all, unless you're really looking for them. Overall, I'm happy how it turned out. I think it looks pretty good. You can see here when have the light reflect on it, where you can see the imperfections and the bubbles that I have, but overall it looks pretty good. Looks a lot better than when I first finished applying it, but you can see down the tail end there, those bubbles, that bubble trail. Just can't get it out, no matter what. When you apply this skin on your case, or if you get the one that just fits on the phone, it'll probably be a lot easier than how I made it look, just simply because I can't fully lean over it. That makes it a little difficult with the camera overhead. So it should be a little easier time for you guys. I just wanted to show how it looks and how even if you do it pretty much how the video shows, you can still mess it up. Like I still had bubbles and I did it just like it showed. It's just not the easiest thing in the world to put on, but it's also not too bad. I think it looks pretty good. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe so you see the review of this case. Let me know if you have any comments, questions, concerns. Leave some comments down there. I love reading them from you guys and getting all the feedback. It's great, you keep me motivated. Can't wait to keep making more. Until next time.